This week, Jack Dorsey says, release the files. A woman says she's pregnant, but why is she carrying CPUs? And would you buy headphones for $949? Those are some of the tech news stories from this week, and it's Sunday, December 11th, 2022. My name is Kirk Corliss.
And I'm Scott Ertz.
And this episode 114 of the GNC Week in Review podcast, powered by geeknewshunter.com and proud partner of the Tech Podcast Network, if it's tech, it's here. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. We are live on gncweekly.com/live, so please be sure to say hello and chat or comment. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel, GNC WIR channel on YouTube. If you missed live video, that's okay. You can always catch the replay later. If you are a new listener, please subscribe to the podcast, where you can find in the right-hand side column at gncweekly.com, be it Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. You have a comment on social media, have a comment being on social media, social media or email. Wow, my intro is tail end is getting really nuts. And those links can be found at gncweekly.com/connect. So we've been off for a couple weeks, crazy schedule for me. Thanksgiving holidays were happening, things of that nature. So it is good to be back. I had to move.
It's always a weird time of year.
Exactly right. So I had to move my days around, and Friday came home late for some things, so I had to move it Friday. So we're back to normal. Knock on wood. Back to wood. Back on.
Here, let me see if this helps.
Knock on wood. There you go. Thank you. So yes, we moved our episode again to Sunday, so we're back to normal Friday evenings. So speaking, it's been a lot of craziness been happening, however, we're less than 3 weeks away. CES 2023.
You say these things as if it doesn't give me incredible anxiety.
I know for those who don't know our coverage, TPN Tech Podcast Network coverage, it is bananas from the fall to now.
Yeah, because I didn't start planning this in August.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I believe you.
This stuff starts for me in August.
Yeah, and this happens, and also too for me, and also for the rest of media, what have you. Registration doesn't come until September-ish or early October-ish. Mm-hmm. So I had to make sure that registration was in there. You have to provide your media credentials. It was funny. I think I mentioned this before, or I don't know if I did or not, but when I asked to take a photo of yourself.
Yeah. I hate that. I've got those photos stored from the first time they did it. I just keep reusing them.
Well, see, I reused mine from the year before, and they didn't accept it. So I just pulled one from 2018, and they accepted it. So go figure. So, but it was weird.
Whatever.
But yeah. So yeah. How the
I
hotel
ignore the fact that most of the plug-in staff is wearing, because they're all wearing their staff shirts. Mm-hmm. And I completely ignore the fact that th're all wearing the old logo.
Oh, geez.
It's not this one, because they started doing it, in 17 or 18? We've just been using the same photos. The only people who are in new ones are people who have joined since. Robbie, if you're listening, that's not what I'm doing.
Right? No. But no, it's it's gonna be, as always, it's gonna be a blast, and just to give you all this coming Friday, it's gonna be our end of your episode. So we're gonna have hopefully everyone on air talent from TPN, Marlo Anderson, who's the founder, and more.
We're trying to have off air too. We're trying
off
to have
air too.
People from Michelle wants to be on the show this year, which I'm really excited about.
Cool.
She wants to be on the show.
Oh, great. That's awesome. That's great. Yeah. So we're slowly planning things. We've been, as Scott mentioned, we've been planning this for months, and it's kind of culminating heavily And we also got a lot of announcements and press releases and invitations, and I have to. They're working on getting onto the show. So there's a little bit. So we're gonna have a. It's gonna be an end of year episode. Usually it's it's been our episode or our podcast that has been having our end of year, tradition of the CES preview. Years past, TPN had a preview day, a few days before CES. So so it's going to be a GNC Week in Review / Tech Podcast Network edition. It's going to be 8 It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
You almost
so
just
said
8 a.m., which made my heart.
I know I did right. Right. It's right. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time. And it's going to be, you can catch it live, gnsweekly.com/live. We'll have a CES page for the event. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff that's going on. We're not gonna mention anything now. We're still planning things, getting things worked out. It is gonna be a lot of fun. I look forward to it. I've been looking forward to it. And I said to Scott before, this is like my Christmas, my birthday, my New Year's. Literally our New Year's.
Yeah, I will be traveling on the 1st.
Are you really? Okay.
Again.
Again.
Oh, this is the second time that I have been on a plane on the 1st. Basically, we do New Year's. I go home, put stuff in a car, and then go to the airport.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm leaving on Monday. I was going to leave on Sunday, but I'm just going to, I was thinking about it, toying with it. Also, I was telling Scott earlier before we came on, I'm booking flights, and I'm not really thrilled with my choices.
Yeah.
So
Tuesday is the day I think the day we can get into the convention center to start setting up the studio. And I want a gap day.
No, I don't blame you.
That's my goal. I want a gap day before I have to go build a studio.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. That's best. Yeah, I'm gonna be. Yeah, I know, and I imagine for a lot of other people, we're all gonna be wired for sound, and at the end of the week, it's gonna be very exhausting, but all in the end. And I always say this, and I've said it before, it's worth it, and we get a lot of our viewers, and tune in with it's the best. We're most, and I think, also too, I always say too, that a lot of our coverage is out. I mean, I know I'm biased. However, I was watching it over the years before, and how we stand out over the rest. I mean, over CNET and The Verge and TechCrunch and all these other.
It's the reason I joined the team.
Right.
In the first place.
Yep.
I mean, in fairness, I also kind of joined because of that beautiful NBC Universal booth that they used to be able to do the show from, which we've never been able to use again. But you know what?
Right.
We've built our own very cool studio, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, and a lot of people tune in, and we've got great interaction from listeners and viewers, and over the years past. It's been amazing, and we're going to do a lot of stuff.
The number of people who come back year after year is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I managed to foray into, showing people, doing live coverage or some scenes from Showstoppers and CS Unveiled. So we're going to like on our end of year episode, we're going to give a preview of what our coverage is going to be. With this, our podcast, our podcast, we're gonna do behind the scenes stuff. We're gonna be on the floor. We're gonna be on the floor throughout the week. I'm gonna make sure we have cameras all over the place. And there's things. And if there's things that you guys want us,
we're finally doing that after show that we were supposed to do last year.
Right?
Just wasn't possible with the number of people that ended up in Vegas. It just wasn't possible. But this year.
Yep.
100%.
Awesome.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. And also too, if you guys out there wants to check out some things, I promised last year I tried to make it to Eureka Park. So I'm definitely making a full commitment one of those days to because I'll be be TDing in the morning, behind the scenes. but I will definitely make the attempt. I'm definitely going to, if I have to, like, make sure that, I have alarms on, get to Rico Park, just so you guys can check out.
I will
Because
force you downstairs. How's that sound?
yes, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. So we're gonna have cameras all over the place. We're gonna have producers with us. We're gonna be all over. So if there's things you guys want to see, want us to check out, do you have any ideas, suggestions, let
Definitely
us know. gnstupid.com/connect, or you can let us know, at Twitter, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. Leave a comment. In the comments, we'll read them. Between now and January, the first week of January, let us know. And the first week of January, obviously, we won't have a show because we're gonna need a break.
Yeah. So we will have a Plug Hits Live. Our normal CES pre-show will be from Vegas before we get started. I don't know. It won't be Sunday night. It'll probably be after we get the studio set up on Tuesday. We'll do our show from up there, and we'll have, team members there to talk. But you will get a preview of what the show will look like, because we like to do that. We like to do the show something from the studio before the show gets started. So there will be a team show before CES gets started.
Good. Well, good. And then, I was mentioning, idea that I had, I was kind of cooking a little bit, to have everyone on from TPN, behind the scenes people from TPN for this one, because it's been, it's been too long to have something like this.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely,
it's been too long since we've all been in one room together.
Exactly right. So I will make the commitment to be with everybody on Tuesday. Well, I'm going to be there anyway, but as far as Plug Hits, I'm definitely going to be there. I'm not on camera. I haven't been on camera for these past 3-4 years, so I'm definitely going to come on camera for a little bit.
Well, and, I've been taking some notes from a bunch of other live shows, and there's one in particular that has a really great production shot that they get to choose when to go to, because it's production.
Right.
So that will be available. Just putting that out there.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So more likely, fingers crossed, our next episode will be Friday, January 13th. Fingers crossed. So, because we need a break
after next week.
After next week, right? Exactly. After next week, it'll be January 13th. Sorry, I'm getting my dates, and I'm all flustered here. So, you have to excuse me. Okay,
it happens.
All right. So, I know. And you point that out.
No, I mean, it happens to all of us. It's fine.
Yeah. So, that's what's going to happen. Again, we're just putting little things out. Look forward to this coming Friday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's gonna be a CES preview. We're gonna have Marlo Anderson and a whole lot more hope, and Todd Cochran, my boss, who is the head of Tech Podcast Network, my boss for executive producer for Geeking Central. I'm going to reach out to him tomorrow, see if he'll come on. We'd love to have him on, give his take, because he's been doing CES for
and this
for like
all
decades.
Is his fault. I'm just going to put it out there. He's handed it off.
Right.
And you and myself and Michelle have put, more and more into making this possible every year.
Right.
But it's all his fault.
Right. In a good way.
I mean, it depends on how much you like sleep, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. But...
No, honestly,
obviously we love doing it. Thank goodness that he started all of this, put the team together.
Absolutely.
It's legitimately the whole team is him. We wouldn't. None of us would be where we are if it wasn't for Tom.
Exactly. And exactly. And I know, again, when I came on 2017 or end of 2017, early 2018, excuse me. And I came on and I met you and your mom and, everybody. And it was just like, I mean, I'm in tech. I love it. But our coverage and being part of that being part of that and just propel myself into so many bigger and better things. Without him, and I told him, even told him that without him, I wouldn't know what to do with myself, what to do. I really wouldn't. I mean, he put me he put me in a better place for it. I thank him profusely, day in, day out. Without him having our own podcast, as part of geeknewscentral.com's network, it's been bigger and better. The listeners, I want to thank you, the viewers and listeners of the podcast. You guys are awesome. You guys give me great support. Friends and family has given us great support. We're a nominee for Podcast Award. We want to thank you all again for nominating us as one of the Podcast Award nominees. We didn't win. That's okay. Either way, to be nominated amongst all these podcasts that are out there, that is something that's truly special to us. I say this from the bottom of my heart. You guys are awesome. I mean that truly. I always say there's always bigger and better things to come. So keep staying on the ride with us. It's gonna be a blast. So, with that, just definitely.
And if it wasn't for you listening, watching, whatever, none of what we're doing matters.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So,
exactly right. Definitely. Keep an eye on our pages, Twitter, our Facebook pages. We're still in the process of doing things, but we're going to start doing things morning of. You're going to see a lot of great stuff, from the channel. I will be making sure that videos are going to come out. I promised I will definitely be more, we're going to have behind the scenes stuff and anything that's going to happen. We're definitely going to cover as much as we can, and if things you want to see, again, let us know. Whatever, and we'll have a giveaway.
Yeah, let us be your eyes and ears on the floor, since you can't be there with us.
Right.
That's always been our goal. I think that's always been, even in the old days, when it was just Todd and Jeffrey and Andy.
Right.
Going back 14, 15 years, when it was just them. The goal was, you can't go. This is a closed event. You've got to even we have to justify ourselves.
Exactly right. Exactly
so
right. Yep.
You probably can't go. Let us be your eyes and ears. Let us know what it is you want to see and hear. That's our job, is to bring things to you. So let us know what that should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have any comments, and if you also too, when guests come on, let us know. Ask questions. I mean, there's questions that we ask, the guests come on, these companies come on. But if there's something that's on your mind, please don't hesitate to jump in chat. Let us know if you want us to reach out to them privately or something like that. We'll definitely let us know about that as well. Hope, and again, we're gonna have we get merch. So I'm looking forward to getting some merch for myself, but also
I have to get down to that one.
Yeah,
that's the thing I'm falling behind on this year is branding.
That's all right. But and also we're gonna have a giveaway. I'm gonna work on some things a little bit between Scott and I off air, and in weeks coming, I'll probably have another giveaway. So again, just keep an eye on our pages, our Facebook page, Twitter page, over the next few weeks, and we'll keep you guys abreast on what's up. All right, so with that, we're going to jump in.
Yeah, we're not going to keep you oppressed.
Right? No, not abreast, not oppressed. All right, so we're going to jump in with the news of the week. So we're still going on the ongoing twists and turns with the Elon Musk and Twitter. So there's been a lot to dive into. So we're going to get some highlights from the week. So Elon says that Twitter's team had been, quote, too intense with suspending fake accounts. One user complained that accounts posting positive content and memes are being suspended. Elon says the team is in charge of suspensions was, quote, moving to chill mode. Or that means Elon also said during a Twitter space that there was no quote breaking point.
Is that he thinks he's a millennial.
Oh, okay.
I think
Okay,
he thinks he's a millennial.
Okay.
He's
He's
wrong,
not.
but
Right. He also says Elon also said during a Twitter space that there was quote no breaking point, which made him buy the company. He said, quote, it's not like, oh, the Babylon B got banned. That's why I bought Twitter. That would be crazy. Instead, he said that general
it would be
concerns.
crazy.
Right.
I'm not
Instead,
convinced that's not it.
right. As we deep dive into psyche. Instead, he said that general concern about free speech online motivated him to purchase Twitter. Also, the BBC have been given photos of Twitter office space that have been converted into bedrooms, which San Francisco authorities are probing as possible building code violations. On the site,
because they
one image
want
shows
to.
a room with a right, of course. One image on BBC shows on BBC.com's website shows a room with a double bed, including a wardrobe and slippers. A building inspection. Building inspection has confirmed it is investigating potential violations following complaint. Elon says the city was attacking companies for providing beds to quote tired employees in a now deleted tweet. He also posted that he would work and sleep in the office until quote the org is fixed. Which leads to the news of the week that really.
So he's treating it like a startup, and I can tell you, I've worked in several of them. The idea of sleeping in the office is not only common, it's something that if you don't have the ability to do it, the employees get mad. Like, I can't tell you how many times at sumo in the old days, Mark and I were like, damn, I wish there was a cot here.
Well, that is true because the company that I work for during it was a blizzard many years ago, and roads were closed and no way to get in or out. I slept there. I mean, I stayed there overnight. It wasn't that comfortable. There was a couch, there was a TV, which P.S. the TV only had like 2 channels, which sucked.
Than zero.
It's better than zero, true. But
you could probably get information about the blizzard that was keeping you there.
Exactly right. So, yes, a lot of companies, including startups, do that. So for the San Francisco, this one department is making a big stink over it is ludicrous.
It's San Francisco. I bet if you were to go into any of the startup offices, they'd all have these.
Oh yeah, no question.
So you can't pretend that this is a problem. Oh, this is a Twitter problem.
Yeah. Which this kind of no, it's not. It's not a non sequitur. Which the news of this week, which really dominated the news, is the Twitter files. Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey called for Elon to quote make everything public now in his release of the Twitter files. Dorsey tweeted in response to Musk saying he needed more time before publishing episode 2 of the files, quote, if the goal is transparency to build trust, why not release everything without filter and let people judge for themselves, including all discussions around current and future actions. Make everything public now, hashtag Twitter files. Elon responded later to his tweet, quote, most important data was hidden from you too, and some maybe have been deleted, but everything we find will be released. Last week.
That was a problem.
Last week, Elon began promoting the release of internal Twitter communications, which he dubbed the Twitter files. He claimed that release of the information would show Twitter's effort to censor free speech. The files released on Friday via journalist Matt Taibbi, who writes the Substack letter TK News. Elon claims the internal communications show that Twitter suppressed free speech on the behest of Joe Biden's 2020 presidential campaign. The post included nude photos of Hunter Biden, which has spread without consent. The tweets were in violation of the company's revenge porn policy. Twitter also took down links to a story from the New York Post about Hunter Biden's laptop. The files showed that Twitter employees debated whether or not to censor the story, as Twitter has a policy against publishing information that was obtained through hacking. At the time, the ban was eventually reversed, and Dorsey later called the ban, quote, a total mistake. The files that were released,
which is an admission he should not have made, because that's the thing that's going to put him in jail.
Exactly. The files that released failed to redact personal information about Twitter employees, including various employee email addresses. Twitter co-founder Bizstone appeared to criticize the release on Friday, calling it, quote, gross, and saying Elon, quote, does things for sport that have serious consequences for real people. Elon has promised to release more Twitter files. On Tuesday, he confirmed that he had fired Twitter Deputy General Counsel James Baker for allegedly interfering in the publication of information, accusing the lawyer of suppressing, quote, information important to the public dialogue. So this has been dominating the news, and it's all about, and it's gotten half free speech and half political.
Yeah.
So
it's been fascinating.
It has been, and
I'll tell you, the whole thing's been fascinating. The first dump 12 days ago or whatever now. What was it? 7, 8, 9, 10 days ago? No, the first one was on a Friday. The second one was on a Thursday. So
right.
9 days ago. The first one from 9 days ago was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The one from Thursday, I think, was more interesting. And I probably would have led with that one if it were me. But the thing that's most interesting about this is Musk is not releasing any information. And that's why that comment about, about doing things for spite or whatever, he has not released anything. He's handed it to two very centrist journalists. Tybie's on the left, certainly to the left of center. And Barry Weiss is hard to nail down on where she is politically, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, that's an incredibly leftist thing to say, and then you're like, oh, she's backing up Shapiro.
Right.
I can't nail that one down, but they're the ones that were given basically a Watergate style data dump, and they're the ones that are releasing information back and forth. Right. They're taking turns. So Tybie was first, Barry Weiss was second. The stuff that came out from Weiss, I found more interesting because it got down into the more nuanced aspect of what was happening and how they were aware what they were doing was probably not legal through internal communications. They were emailing back and forth, and they're like, I don't think we can do this. And that there was some of that in the first one too, like with the laptop story. They're like, this isn't hacked information, right? We can't get away with this.
Right.
That we can't claim that we're blocking it on hacked information grounds because it wasn't.
Because it wasn't.
We know that. Rudy Giuliani showed the laptop on Crowder's show, right? Here's a laptop. And Crowder didn't know it was coming. That's one of my favorite clips I've ever seen from any podcast ever. He's like, have you seen the laptop? And he goes, hold on. This one? And he was like, I think we have to pause here for a moment. I don't know how to keep going with this. Yeah. So they knew that it wasn't hacked.
Right.
So and they're like, could this be election tampering? There were conversations
and that's what,
about it.
And that's what
election. And they're like, don't worry about it. They'll never know. Uh-oh. And then the stuff in the second dump was super detailed. Communications about particular people and certain the talk about, well, we need to suspend libs of TikTok. Well, what are we going to suspend her on? Don't worry about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
What? Because the argument has always been we're just equally enforcing the policies. It just so happens that conservatives break the rules more often. And then it turns out, no, we suspended in 2022 alone. She was suspended 6 times. I think only once was she given a reason other than, but it could cause harm to somebody. Well, that's not. No. What? How can showing somebody's video? Are you taking the exact same video down on TikTok? Because that's where the video came from.
Right.
Don't worry about it. And it turns out behind the scenes, they're going, don't worry about it. Just take it down. Don't worry about what policy.
Yeah.
And that's, in fairness, they also did it to the left. There's some of it, which was, a big data dump. A big part of the first episode was, Trump asked Trump, well, not Trump personally, because he couldn't have typed something that detailed, but certainly Trump's campaign team asked for things to be taken down and it was responded to, but there was no mechanism for doing it. You had to know somebody at Twitter, and that person at Twitter had to forward it to the right people. Right. Well, nobody at Twitter liked the Trump campaign. So the fact that anything over there happened, and, hipster Rasputin, what's his name? Jack Dorsey. He even said publicly a couple of years ago, we're fully aware that all of the employees are to the left, but we don't allow that to affect anything.
And that's what I was watching I was watching the podcast, or I'm sorry, on YouTube, on The Verdict with Ted Cruz, and everything you cited, they broke things down, and how it's gone. It's basically. And
I didn't watch that.
You have to watch it. I mean, it was a good episode where they broke things down. Everything you mentioned, majority of it, well, not because they didn't get the other. It was only the first dump that they were talking about, not the second.
The second dump only happened on Thursday.
Right.
But I imagine Ted Cruz being an attorney and somebody who has argued in front of the Supreme Court. He has to read everything before he'll comment at all, because he doesn't want to be disbarred.
Right. No, he broke everything down.
It's a complicated thing.
He broke everything down.
Ben Shapiro does the same thing. He waits because he has to read it all himself before he'll comment on anything. Because again, he's a member of the bar.
Right.
He's a lawyer.
But my whole thing is that, again, basically, I want to look at it. See, when I look at my Twitter, I mean, I look at both sides, the left and the right.
You have to.
And to get a big picture of it all. And it has gotten so.
I know I mentioned him just a second ago, but one of my favorite things that came out of one of those Young American Foundation. I don't know.
That's right. That's the name of it.
Is that it?
That's the name of it. That's the name of it.
I saw a clip, and it was Ben Shapiro one time. He said, "Here's the thing. Listen to me. Listen to CNN.
Yep.
The place where we cross is the information. Everything else is opinion."
Yep. I saw that clip too.
So I've always liked that mentality, right?
Yep.
Yes, there's bias. All human beings have bias. I wish we could get back to the days of Walter Cronkite. Walter Cronkite's opinions ended a war. He was not.
Yeah.
He was biased too.
Oh, absolutely.
So the news has never been unopinionated,
right?
Because that's how Vietnam ended. But you go look at different sources, find the middle ground. That's probably where your information is. That's the news, and everything else is opinion. That's a great way of looking at it. And that's how I live my life too. I want to hear both sides, and I want to find where the opinion is. I want to find where the information is. It's why I usually go to the source and read things for myself, because I don't trust nobody.
Right. And it's always good to know, and again, with our podcast, and we're not going into the political rabbit hole or anything like that. But my whole thing is that my goal.
We kind of already have.
True. That is true. My whole thing is
it's hard to talk on this topic.
Yeah,
because this topic is by its nature political. Now,
it is.
we're not putting our political spin on it, but it
Oh no,
is
of course not.
political.
Right? Yeah, it is political. It is. It's
I
gotten more
have my
political.
opinions on what has been happening at Twitter. Some of
Yeah.
it's based on information, and some of it's based on politics.
Right.
And
Same here.
but that's not what we're talking. But the whole topic is political.
It is. It's gotten so political, but also that brings back to my original point. My original question or point is about free speech, and I agree with and Abram made a good point. We had him on a few weeks ago about it's okay to have free speech, but when it comes to anti-Semitism, hate speech, I agree with him 110%. Totally agree with him. However, it's gotten to the point where Twitter is basically wanting to say, look, but they also the argument is about what is free speech, and and also like how people will condemn one another, and it's gotten too much. But now it's gotten to
that's going to happen in a society with free speech, though. People are going to get offended. Things are going to happen. I mean, that's just that's the nature of the ability to speak freely. Now,
absolutely,
there are limits on it.
Right.
You cannot knowingly cause a panic that will cause harm.
Right.
Right. So it's the example that's used. It's said incorrectly, but it's the fire in a movie theater, right? You can shout fire in a movie theater.
Right.
But there has to be a fire. Yeah, right? You can't just say it. There does have to be a fire.
Right.
But that, and so I think that's the important thing that people miss is context, right? Everybody says, well, you can't shout fire in a theater. Of course you can, but there has to be a fire. Because you can't knowingly cause a panic that could lead to harm. You also can't directly call for violent action, right?
Yeah.
You can say, if something, well, no, you probably couldn't say that because again, it comes down to context. You can't say, I hope something happens to somebody. Donald Trump, Biden. You can't say, I hope you can kind of say, I hope something happens, depending on context. What you can't say is, I go do it. Somebody should do it. That's a different context, right? That context is always a call to action.
Yeah.
So long as you're not calling people to action or doing something that could likely lead to harm, you mostly just have to suck it up, right?
Absolutely.
And people on the left, the ACLU, for example, in the past, it's not how they act today, but in the past, they argued in favor of the Nazi march through, was it Montgomery in like the 60s or 70s or something like that? They argued in favor of it in court.
Okay.
Because it's free speech. They were not calling to action in their demonstration. They're vile and condemnable people and should be condemned. But they're allowed to say their stupid stuff.
Exactly.
So long as they don't say, we need to start rounding people up, that becomes a problem. And here I am. I'm allowed to say the phrase, we should start rounding people up, in the context of, right?
Yeah.
Because again, it comes down to context.
Right.
And we've lost context because AI doesn't have context.
No.
So automated systems have no way of dealing with this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But the people at Twitter were acting as if they were AIs.
Yeah.
They also had no context, which is obviously a huge problem.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. I think free speech means sometimes you're going to be offended. And my new favorite expression is suck it up, buttercup. Because I used to say you should man up, but I think both men and women need to have thicker skin. So that expression doesn't work anymore. So suck it up, Buttercup.
Show title.
Because it's just a little insulting.
Yeah.
You know, it gets my point across, and it's just a little insulting. Not a lot, just a little bit.
No.
So I think that's the thing, right?
Yep. Agreed.
And I think what this is doing is it's expressing that in a fascinating way.
Without question.
That there are a lot of people who don't have that ability because you know, we have created a couple of generations of very hurt feelings.
Oh, without question.
I'm part of that. I'm part of one of those generations. I fully admit it. Now, I thickened my skin anyway. Which is good because you can't be in small business without thick skin. Somebody says tells you, I hate what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Oh well, you got to deal with it. You can't tell them, oh, you can't say that to me. Of course they can.
Yeah,
because you're the nobody in this context. You got to take it.
Yeah.
So,
and I think people have gotten way too personal and taken things a little too seriously when you have to let it roll off your back. And I think that by having these 100%. These Twitter files dumped, it shines a light on it.
And again, it's more than just dumped. It's being vetted by journalists, centrist journalists, which I think that's the right way to deal with this, because we didn't just throw Watergate into the public, right?
Right.
We had files, we had information. Woodward and Bernstein were the coffee filters through which the garbage, because there was a lot of garbage, and there is here too. These poor people are sifting through emails of nonsense.
Right.
Are we going to the bar this week? Right? Just absolute garbage. So that we don't have to. And they're putting together, look, this is the important thing on this topic that you need to know about. I got rid of all the stuff that says there's, that this department is going to go to this conference next week. Don't care. So, I think that's an important way of handling this. I think a direct data dump is a problem. Although there is certain information now that we know that there were official hit lists, right?
Right.
We know that Dan Bongino was on an official hit list. We know that that Libs of TikTok was on several official hit lists. We know that now.
Yeah.
Now I'd like to see those hit lists. You don't have to release all the emails about back and forth. I'd like to see those hit lists.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, people, high profile people that we know for sure we're going to be on at least one. Matt Walsh. Probably nobody else in political commentary ruffles the feathers of the left quite like Matt Walsh. Because some of what he says he doesn't mean. Some of it's a joke. Mermaids. You can't have a black mermaid because you can't have a white mermaid. They live down at the bottom of the sea. They'd be translucent. Obviously, that was a stupid comment meant to be a joke, and it ruffled everybody up. I'd like to see his hit list.
Yeah, I would like to, but so for me though, I think it's good to know the information and also disseminate it as you wish.
Yeah,
and not put a spin on it. That's to where I think media.
And I think now that we'll have these topics, I think being able to go and release the related information, and that's what I'm saying, release the related information as a bulk. We now know there were hit lists. Release them. I would like to see all of the hit lists.
Oh, absolutely.
Left, right, and center. I would like to see every. James Woods was apparently on a hit list.
Yes, that was on, and now he mentioned on his podcast. He mentioned it about that.
I mean, James Woods, the high school in Family Guy is named for him.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the blacklist settings that were on for him.
Yeah.
I'd like to see all of them. Release all of
Mhm.
that. Now that we know that there are hit lists and the story
Yep.
has been told in a way that people can understand, let me see it.
Yep.
So I
And
think
disseminate.
I think it's important to do the journalism thing first and
Right.
then put the data out there. Let us know. Give us here's the information.
Mhm.
There were these blacklists. They were
Right.
named. There were a whole bunch of them.
Mhm.
And people on the hit list would get hit with certain blacklist settings.
Right.
So would topics, by the way.
Mhm.
Now that that's happened, give us the blacklists, give us the hit list. I'd like
Yeah,
to see all of it.
I would say, but also in the same token, I don't want it spun into one narrative. I want to look again, look at the big picture and not have it, where it's one side's wrong versus the other.
Yeah,
You
for
have
sure.
you have the opted choice of deciding what you believe in. It could be right, it could be wrong, but it's your opinion.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, and I think the spin to media has it spun into way different direction, whereas it should be just presented and people should make up their minds for themselves.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, that's
that would be I like getting some structure. This is the information that we have. Here is what a journalist saying this is what it shows.
Yep.
And then here's all of the background information about all the things, even if we didn't talk about them. I think personally, I think that's the way to go. And I think
absolutely.
So we've got the first part. Now we just need the second.
Yep. And to be continued, we're gonna keep an eye on this over the next few days, and obviously, with our end of year episode, we're probably gonna it's gonna pop up, our next episode in January. All right, so moving on.
I'll tell you, if you're watching during CES, the likelihood of us, during like idle time, talking about this type of thing is very high.
Oh, absolutely, without
it's
question.
Very high that
without question.
that this topic will come up. You and Todd or whatever, you producing Todd's on air. The idea of just killing some time with this topic seems pretty high to me.
Yeah, and definitely, and Todd's
especially if we keep seeing weekly episodes.
Right. Exactly right. And I think too that, because Todd, and for those who don't watch it or listen to Todd's podcast, it's a great podcast to check out, and he usually goes down heavily down the political rabbit hole in detail, and he makes a lot of good points. He always says he's an equal opportunity offender.
Indeed.
So, but yeah, you're probably right. We're definitely going to get this, and this is going to be talked about for weeks to come.
Yeah.
All right. Other news this week. If you think you can fool custom officials into believing you're pregnant, and not,
this is my favorite thing that's ever happened.
So I was going to put this. I was going to put this in and finally, but this is the and finally segment. I think it's even better. You might disagree or agree, but yeah. So if you think you can fool custom officials into believing you're pregnant and not, in fact, smuggling hundreds of Intel processors and iPhones in a prosthetic strapped to your belly, well, you want to think again. This is what happened to a woman who learned when she attempted this at the Gangpei Port's customs checkpoint in China. This is coming from multiple news reports, and this was spread all over news outlets. So she was entering the mainland from Macau on November 25th when a customs officer noticed and then inquired about her abnormal posture. The woman said she's about 5 or 6 months pregnant, but the inspector was apparently suspicious since her belly looked large enough for her to be in the third trimester. Now, it's not likely wise to scrutinize the person of a possible pregnant woman, but when the custom officials used an inspection machine, they said they found the woman was not expecting with a baby, and when in fact, in reality, she was using a prosthetic to conceal 202 Intel chips and 9 iPhones.
Honestly, it's my favorite thing ever. It's so unbelievably dumb that I can't not love it. I mean, hubris galore.
Oh, without question.
Just and now the question suddenly becomes, how many other times has this happened? And it got passed.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously big enough to be in the third trimester, and I'm going to risk my reputation on it. Uh-oh. I bet others wouldn't have risked their reputation on it. And so therefore there are others that have gotten through. That's
not to mention freedom also, which apparently, well, this woman, well, she was detained according to customs officials. So yeah,
not a whole lot of that.
Yeah. Well, again, I was gonna put this in the final segment, but with all the craziness, I figured, we're gonna put this in the middle. All right. So on the last episode, we had news about a portable speaker for $790 you can buy right now. However, this might be one better. And this is coming from well-known company Dyson, who makes those well-known vacuums. Now, earlier this year, Dyson revealed its first audio product, a pair of headphones that promise to not only block noise, but unwanted airborne particles as well, thanks to a built-in infiltration system and mask. And this week, the company revealed more details, and it's called the Dyson Zone. Now, these the Dyson headphones has an unorthodox design that integrates the smallest 10,000 RPM electric motors the company has ever developed in each ear cup, letting the purifier on the front draw air through dual layer filters to remove particles like pollen, bacteria, and dust, plus gases like nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and ozone. The clean air is then directed to the wearer's mouth and nose through a magnetically attached mask that also designed to block wind. According to Dyson, those filters will need to be replaced roughly every 12 months with the accompanying app providing reminders when a swap out is needed. The Dyson Zone is relying on 8 mics to reduce ambient sounds by up to 38 decibels. However,
Which
also
I'd imagine you'd have to if you've got motors in the thing. You'd have to have some pretty significant noise cancellation because you're creating a significant amount of noise.
Exactly. However, it also includes 2 additional microphones to deal with sounds from your air filtering system, plus one for picking up the user's voice for phone calls. The Dyson Zone's 40 millimeter neon dynamo drivers are promised to reproduce frequencies from 6 hertz to 21 gigahertz. Now, these aren't light headphones. They weigh close to a pound. Now again, this is $949, which can be rewarded by appointment through Dyson store starting in March, with wider availability through Dyson's website, quote, shortly after. Now, Scott, you're the audiophile, and I asked this before about the speaker.
So here's the thing. That's already a problem. That's already a problem. But
just
obviously
marinate.
So I saw this and immediately I went to the Razer whatever, because the Razer names their things with stupid names. I mean, the Dyson Zone is not that much better of a name, but I remembered that one. I thought of the Razer with the RGB and that was less expensive and was a pass. And Razer makes headphones. Like, that's part of their core who they are. So for this company, who's clearly a vacuum, and hello to us. Yes. They're a vacuum company. I can't imagine that the headphones are great, but I understand that that's not what we're doing here. I understand that these are not headphones. The headphones are there as a bonus. Honestly, they are. It's an electric mask. just like the Razer one.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
If you're watching live, I'm showing if watching live right now, viewers, or audio listeners, I'm pulling up from the Verge's site what they look like, and there's a well, I'm going to go back up here. There's a man who's got really it's a mask basically. It's not like a regular mask, but it's covering his entire mouth. Huge over the ear headphones. Again, it weighs a pound, and yeah.
So the Zephyr is the one from Razer. Hazel was all I could come up with. That was the project name. So the Zephyr is weirder looking. I'm not gonna lie. Because it looks like something out of a video game, because Razer's a video game company. It's got the big things on the side, and you could probably go to a club with this and everything would be fine. But that one didn't work great. My fear is that the Dyson one's not going to work great.
Yeah. I wouldn't spend over $900 for a pair of headphones. These are Sony headphones. They cost like $50 or $60.
Yeah, and that's even that. The days of high cost, big over the ear headphones seems to be gone. Right? It's down to small format for the most part. I still have my Elements just off camera here that I use all the time, but I'm a special case. The big headphones seem to be a thing of the past. So making them $1,000 and putting a mask on the front, it's the Zephyr Plus headphones. It's just no part of it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, it's all crazy.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so on our July 11th, 2021 episode, which is almost a year ago, there was a company that was known as Nothing, whose founder Carl Pei, who was co-founder of OnePlus, was debuting earbuds and was hinting at a smartphone coming soon. Well, fast forward this past Monday, and Nothing may launch a future smartphone in the U.S.
The grammar of these sentences is so complicated.
Well, I had to tie it in together. That was not my writing.
No, I know.
Okay.
Because the company name is Nothing, it throws the grammar off.
Yeah.
Nothing is releasing what?
Yeah. I tried to.
What's happening?
I try to like tie it, and it didn't work very well. So Carl Pei told CNBC, he said that the Nothing Phone 1 isn't available stateside because the company wasn't ready to deal with the complexities of the market. He said, quote, "Now we are in a discussion with some carriers,
the FCC.
with some carriers in the U.S. to potentially launch a future product there." He also said, quote, "It's definitely a market where there's already a lot of interest for our products, and if we launch our smartphones there, I'm sure we could obtain significant growth." He also says, quote, "The reason why we didn't launch in the U.S. is because you need a lot of additional technical support all the carriers, and there are unique customizations that they need to make on top of Android. We felt they weren't ready before." However, he also previously said that the company, quote, has a, quote, 0% margin on the phones due to issues like a strong US dollar and less than favorable terms from suppliers. He said, quote, "The goal is to be profitable in 2024. We are not profitable right now." And I don't think, and also too, I mean, there's a humongous growth. I mean, not growth, but humongous array of smartphones to choose from between Apple, not iPhone, but Android devices. And I don't think people are really. I mean, there's some people know about OnePlus. Their phones. I mean, they really need to, have to have the wow factor. Or even we talked about before, dissected before that, a lot of smartphones don't really like have that oomph, that wow factor anymore. So
yeah.
So for them to, put out something like a
Lots
new
of
phone,
lots of products are in that category. I saw
right?
a photo of all of the 2023 SUVs.
Hmm.
They all look identical.
Yeah.
So, not being original,
Hmm.
ironically, is not original.
Yeah. That is true.
Which is unfortunate.
That is true. That is true. All right, so we're gonna do an audible because Scott's got this episode in about 45 minutes. So we're gonna do
I
it.
don't.
Oh, you don't?
Nah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, so we'll keep on. All right. So next up, new leaks appear to reveal what to expect from Google's long rumored foldable phone. Leaker on Leaks has teamed up with the website How to iSolve to share renders a 360-degree video and measurements of the foldable Pixel device. According to OnLeaks and How to iSolve, the phone will apparently have a 5.79-inch cover screen and a larger 7.69-inch inner screen, meaning it will function more like Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold, which has a cover screen, than Microsoft's Surface Duo phones, which do not.
Although the photos look a lot like a Surface Duo.
Mm-hmm. Right, agreed. Unfolded, Google's device would be, quote, roughly 1.58.7 by 139.7 by 5.7 millimeter. For comparison, the Z Fold is 155.1 by 130.1 by 6.3 millimeters, so the Pixel Fold could be a bigger hit than Samsung. As for the camera, Google's Foldable will apparently keep the company's recent tradition of huge pixel camera bumps. The renders show a large bar along the backside of the phone packed with 3 cameras and LED flash. The renders reveal a selfie cam on the front cover screens too, and under the hood, the phone will apparently be powered by Google's Tensors G2 chip. The phone will apparently come in 2 different. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Why is there another foldable coming out? I have no idea.
I know. This has been in development for a while, and I think they just don't want to throw another product in the trash.
Yeah, well, or killed. Yeah. All right, next up, the District of Columbia has sued Amazon over claims the company was, quote, stealing tips from Flex drivers. As the Federal Trade Commission argued last year, DC claims Amazon changed its policies in 2016 so that would use large portions of drivers' tips to cover base pay and operational costs. The company not only used, quote, misleading language in response to worried customers, but falsely told customers that 100% of tips will go drivers. This is coming from the District Office Attorney General. DC acknowledged that Amazon has paid $61.7 million part of a settlement with the FTC. However, it said that federal deal helped Amazon elude, quote, appropriate accountability that include punishment for the damages done to consumers. The Attorney General's office is asking for simple penalties for every violation of the district's Consumer Protection Procedures Act, as well as a court order barring Amazon from implementing similar practices in the future. So
it'll be interesting to see. DC is a weird place because it both does and doesn't exist.
And
you okay?
There you go. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah,
Am I back?
You're back.
So DC is a weird place because it both does and doesn't exist. From like a legal standpoint, as a standalone entity, it kind of is and is not directly tied to the federal government. So it'll be interesting to see. There is a settlement with the federal government. It'll be interesting to see if DC has standing separate and apart from that existing settlement.
Yeah.
First and foremost, that I find interesting. Do they have standing at all? Phase 1. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
And phase 2 is, can they use the settlement with the FTC as evidence of the behavior if they can prove standing? This is interesting.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well. Yeah. There's a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And also too,
because there's double jeopardy involved. There's and what does that apply to non-person entities? I think it does.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff happening here.
Yep. Yeah.
That'll be fun to follow.
Absolutely. Definitely. We can keep an eye on that. Absolutely. All right. Also in the news, speaking of Vegas, Uber has launched public robo-taxis rides in Las Vegas using Motional's Hyundai Ioniq. Ioniq. Okay, great. Okay. 5 autonomous EVs with the aim of offering a full driverless service to the public in 2023. It will expand to Los Angeles, where the two companies have been testing autonomous Uber Eats deliveries since May 2022. It's all part of a 10-year agreement between Uber and Motional to offer autonomous ride hailing and deliveries. The taxi rides will be monitored by safety drivers with a goal of launching a fully driverless service to the public in 2023. Motional VP Aske Jasing says, quote, excuse me, today Motional becomes the first AV company to conduct all electric autonomous rides on the Uber network for public passengers. So
AV means something else to me.
I don't know what that means.
It's autonomous vehicle here.
Oh, well,
for me, audio
video. Right. Right. Yeah. Well,
that threw me off.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I stumbled on that one. I'm like, they're an AV company?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Visual.
How did we get here? Got it.
Yeah.
Couple things. One, the idea of an autonomous Uber Eats delivery suggests to me that the car is going to pull up outside and you're going to have to go out to the car and get your food.
Yes.
If I'm ordering Uber Eats, I'm not in a state to go outside and get the food. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not going to want to get dressed enough to go outside. So that's going to annoy me to no end. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that.
That joke aside, I have been on several drives for Uber Eats, and I can tell you, the reality is those people are not going out to an autonomous car to pick up their food. 80% are not in a state to go pick up their food outside. Anyway,
I can't get that on my head.
But the reality is here, I don't know that 2023, I don't think that we're far enough into autonomous vehicles to be,
I agree,
to be putting fully driverless. I was in last in-person CES for me. So 2020, I was in an autonomous Lyft. That was, and this is 2020. We're only 3 years out.
Yeah,
the technology is not moving that fast,
right?
Because they've been working on this since the 60s. So it was questionable enough that there were 2 safety people in the car, one in the driver's seat and one in the passenger seat. So if you were in the car and you had questions, you asked the person in the passenger seat, so you weren't distracting the person in the driver's seat, because he was having to keep his eyes on everything. I don't think 3 years is enough to have these things out there. Because was it also 2020 or maybe 2019 that one of these things hit somebody at CES?
I think so. I think so. I think
it was 19. So we're only 4 years out from a very high profile autonomous vehicle with a safety driver hitting a human being at CES.
Yeah.
Although on the other hand, my former business partner, Mark, has said and it's an interesting take on it. They don't have to be perfect. Autonomous vehicles don't have to be perfect. They only have to be better than a human.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting take.
See, my whole concern is that I'm afraid of getting one of those things. Not only when you're having, in Las Vegas, and if you guys have been, go to Vegas, these drivers, I mean, they drive like out of control. And
the autonomous lift that I was in was uh-oh.
The signal sucks right now. The signal, I apologize for those who are listening right now on the audio. This signal is like really driving me nuts. I have no idea what's wrong with my internet.
The internet is a terrible, terrible place.
Yeah.
But so what I was saying was the autonomous lift that I was in was run off the road by one of the Vegas drivers.
Wow.
It's the reason why there was a human being in the driver's seat you weren't allowed to talk to, because Vegas drivers are so notoriously insane, particularly the taxi drivers, which this was. It was a taxi driver that tried to push the autonomous vehicle off the road. They're so notoriously bad that I'm always surprised that Vegas is the place where they test these things, because why would you test? Well, I guess why would you test them in the place where the most dangerous drivers in the world are? Well, because it's the best test environment.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, this is I'm not going to get into those things. I'm sorry. I can't. I mean, I'm not doing it, especially if there's one round a day. Hard pass. Hard pass. All right. Next up, Wordle has topped Google's year in search for 2022, beating even the biggest events in the world over the past few months. The second most watched search term from 2022 is India versus England,
which is a surprise to me.
Yeah, I had no idea. I know soccer is popular, but apparently,
popular enough that essentially one match as part of the World Cup is enough to blow out an entire year worth of search, including for number 3, which is Ukraine.
That takes third spot.
What?
Queen Elizabeth came in 4th,
which is even more surprising.
The fifth most popular was another cricket World Cup game. This one between
but that's cricket. Hold on, this is cricket World Cup.
Cricket World Cup. Yeah, not the World Cup, the soccer. This is cricket, which is again fascinating. COVID-19 is no longer on front, which is good. Roe versus Wade was most searched health-related topics, and some of the entries and trending were about the Texas school shooting and Hurricane Ian.
And monkeypox, which is interesting. Like 8 people have gotten it, and it was all from some adult event in Sweden or something. The fact that that's on the list at all is shocking to me.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, this is not shocking. Well, this is not shocking. So it's a holiday season, and we want to know what's going on, as you can tell from the holiday motif in Scott's shot. So we're going to check out. So check out what's streaming on Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime. We want to see this holiday season. And I'm so happy that's the feed and drop on the intro on that bumper. All right, so first up is Netflix. This is coming to, and if you're watching the video, we're showing the list, and if you're listening on audio, we're showing off the different titles, and the links are in the show notes that you can check out for yourself and see what you feel is what's worth watching. So we have 21 Jump Street,
but the 2012 one, not the real one,
right?
Where can I watch the real one?
Probably archived on Hulu or Fox.
Seems likely.
Yeah.
A bunch of words that I don't recognize.
Which one? Oh, this one.
Blippi, Mika, something with 2 H's in a row. I wouldn't even know how to. I would not know how to pronounce that one. CHHOTA.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not going to go for. I'm not going to. Nope.
My Girl, just in case you really want to cry at Christmas.
Yeah.
Split gravy on rice. Just
take it as you will.
The Masked Scammer. Definitely sounds like a new reality show on Fox, but it turns out it's not. It's a crime documentary.
Right.
But we got The Masked Singer and The Masked Dancer. Definitely sounds like a new reality show on Fox.
I think so. Yeah.
Nothing. My takeaway here is nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Scrooge: A Christmas Carol, a Netflix original.
Yeah,
this is. Hey, Netflix. You want to know why you've had several quarters of negative subscriber growth?
This is why.
The only comments I've been able to make are, do you want to cry on Christmas? And I don't know how to pronounce these words. No. Normally we're like, oh, that sounds like fun. Oh, yeah, good. Right. The Boss Baby. Because nobody knows how to milk a franchise quite like, well, Netflix and or Disney.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my God. Seriously. I'm down to the 8th. And I got nothing. Nothing. There's nothing on here that I want to watch.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, this is getting to be really disturbing.
That one right there. Del Toro's Pinocchio. I'm in. A stop motion adaptation of Pinocchio done by Del Toro. This is going to be the weirdest thing that Netflix has ever been put out. I can't wait. When did this? Is this already out? Oh, yes. 2 days ago. I'm in. I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So for those who are watching, if you're listening on audio, watching the trailer. So I'm taking off the sound because I don't want to get taken down. So.
Yep.
Just interesting. Maybe I should. Well, I canceled my subscription. Maybe I should go back and watch it.
It looks
and cancel it again.
It looks exactly like I would expect Pinocchio from Del Toro to look.
Yeah.
On let's see, on the 15th, Who Killed Santa? A Murderville murder mystery. They managed to get the word murder in there twice and the word killed.
And you think that's programmer?
Yeah, seriously. This is Thank goodness I've got one thing.
Mm.
The original Trolls movie from 6.5 years ago. Woohoo! It's been on Peacock, so
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, this is
wow. This is the worst one we've ever done, dude.
I agree. Yeah, this is really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is moving right along.
Congratulations, Netflix. You've won an award, but not one that you wanted to win.
Right. All right, well, let's move on to.
It's certainly not a superlative.
Right. Let's move on to Hulu. Whoops. We go back to there we go. Let's move on to Hulu.
So they keep advertising this. It's a wonderful binge to me. And the name annoys me. Okay, let's see. Interesting. I think Big Brother was mentioned on Netflix too, but different seasons than this.
Yeah. Bleach complete seasons. What? I never known there's a season called Bleach. Oh, it's in our country. Okay.
So that's actually interesting what it says. So Bleach, it's probably the anime. Oh, but it's the Spanish language version of it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The Spanish dub and sub version of it. That's actually really interesting. I hope Hulu starts getting into more dubs and subs of different languages of anime.
Mm-hmm.
That'd actually be a really good place for them because they're really good at anime as it is.
Okay.
Barney's version. Barney's version of what? Don't worry about it. Christine, the Da Vinci Code, Dawn of the Dead. There you go. There's a Christmas movie for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to set yourself up to be uncomfortable driving behind certain types of vehicles on the interstate, all of the Final Destinations, Hancock, Liar Liar. That just bounces from service to service, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Liar was a good movie.
Machine Gun Preacher. Not gonna lie, I'm interested in what that might be because if it's a documentary about the son of the Moonies, that could be interesting. If it's something else, I'll be very disappointed. I've created my own expectations here, Hulu, because you did not give me any more information. Just putting it out there. Rio, Royal Tenenbaums, Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, Wall Street. I don't know what witless protection is, but that sounds funny. It's a good pun, at least. Housebroken. I know it's a Fox show, and it's only coming on Hulu because it's on Fox. But if you're not watching it, it's really funny. Lisa Kudrow as a poodle. There's actually things on here. This seems inappropriate after the last one.
Yeah. Maybe we should have let off with this one, then went into the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, right. Batman Begins, Dunkirk, Inception, The Dark Knight Rises. A very Backstreet Holiday special premiere. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
How do you compete with that? Well, class of 1975, Gene Simmons.
There you go.
That's how you compete with it. And a Freddie Mercury special. December 15th is going to be wild on Hulu.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Guns N' Roses.
Well, speaking of more reality shows, you got Marriage Boot Camp.
Mama June. Married at First Sight. $1 Million Matchmaker. Secrets of the Chippendale Murders.
That That gave us pause and a lot of questions.
There's a lot of assumptions you have to make to get through that title.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's Third Reich, the Fall, special. Now, here's the thing. It took me a minute to realize that there was a colon between Fall and Special.
Mm-hmm.
So Third Reich, the Fall Special, which makes it sound like a quarterly salute to instead of what it actually is. So that was confusing. Yeah, it starts to fall off there, but well, we had a really solid start.
Yep. I think so.
The Christmas parade from Disney will be on Hulu on Christmas Day as a live stream, so that's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you have dropped cable, you can still watch it. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that one was a success.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, you can also watch the Times Square ball drop. If you don't have cable, you can watch it on Hulu. That's cool.
Yeah.
So that was a win.
Yeah, that was a win. Okay. Well, let's see how we fare with Amazon Prime.
All right, Amazon, which way are you going? Are you going Netflix or Hulu?
Okay.
Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. All Dogs Go to Heaven too. Mm-hmm. We haven't even left the A's, and we're pretty good.
Yep. So far, so
good.
The
Basic Instincts, Cloverfield, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about Eat, Pray, Love, but I know it's popular. Hotel Transylvania.
That's been on every network, including TBS. For
which one?
Hotel Transylvania. Yeah, it's been on every network. TBS. You name the network, it's been on it.
Kingpin.
Great movie.
Amazon just won. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, always a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Muppets from Space. Paranormal Activity.
Saturday Night Fever, excellent movie if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Saturday Night Fever, super bad, 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Another great movie.
We did well. Boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Manchurian Candidate, Muppets Take Manhattan, which I love is alphabetical under the, which is not the way that's supposed to be.
No.
The Ring, The Smurfs 2, Zoolander and Zoolander 2. All right. Prime's going to be the place to be.
Yep.
This month, Prime's the place to be.
Yep. Agreed.
This is a good collection of stuff.
Yep.
The Three Wise Men versus Santa. Not going to lie, have to know what it is. The Dr. Seuss Baking Challenge.
Mm-hmm. if they have a green eggs and ham one, that's going to be a win for me.
There's an episode of Nailed It on Netflix that was Dr. Seuss themed.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was really good.
Okay. Season
3 of Jack Ryan.
I'm definitely watching that one. I got that one already on my playlist. It's good. Okay. It's a good series. You have to, if you haven't seen it.
It really is.
Mm-hmm. If you guys out there haven't seen it, definitely it's a must.
It sets up Jim from The Office as an action hero.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you need any other convincing, shame on you.
Exactly right about that.
So I'm all in for Amazon Prime this month.
Yep, likewise.
There's a ton of stuff on there that is worth watching. If you haven't seen it, and some of them that are worth watching, even if you have, because several of those movies I've watched an unhealthy number of times.
Mm-hmm. Same here. Okay. And finally, so we're wrapping up 2022. So you would like to think what really happened this year would be just that, and you'll be wrong. So Reddit has unveiled its end of year recap for 2022.
Uh-oh.
detailed some key stats on the site and communities for the year. It has over 100,000 active communities globally and saw some 430 million people, up
No,
14%.
posts.
Posts, excuse me, you're right. Posts up 14% over last year.
Wow.
The site also saw some 2.5 plus billion comments, is up 7% year over year, and 24 billion upvotes.
Wow.
Among all those communities, the number one most viewed was r slash I'm I
No, am I?
the A
Am
with
I?
4.9 million members. Am I? Sorry, it's all crunched together.
Yep.
Am I an a-hole? With 4.9 million members. Meanwhile, r slash world news climbed to number 3, while r slash Ukraine had 1.8 billion views, up 70%, 76% from last year. In this year's edition of r slash place, effectively the world's largest digital quilt blanket, Redditors from 236 countries contributed 160 plus million tiles, including arts, memes, and more.
Huh. Okay. Yep. Yeah. That for sure. AITA was going to be the number one. I can't even use Facebook without coming across roundups from that Reddit. And then there are YouTubers, social media people that essentially do reaction videos just to this community exclusively. That's basically all they do. And the amount of stuff that happens in here, it's essentially, if you don't know, it's essentially a sanity check board where you can go, so my sister was getting married and everything was fine, but then she wouldn't tell me where the wedding was going to be, or everybody's getting their dresses, but they wouldn't tell me what color to get. I think they were trying to screw me, so I got one of both. I got one of each color, and I showed up just to annoy them because they wanted me to drop out. Those types of things. They are fascinating stories. If you have not spent any time on there, you should.
Yeah, there's a lot of topics. Like one says AITA for saying, quote, bring your own S if you don't like it at my party.
No, you're not.
No, right. So
because we all know the text chat meme of a group is created. Hey, having a barbecue this Sunday. Great, can't wait. What time? Whatever. Are there any vegans in here? Sarah says, "Oh, thanks for asking. I'm vegan." And then the next message says, "Sarah has been removed from the group."
Yeah. So this is when I say, open conversation. And when I was reading through it, I occasionally look at, different communities there. And, and that one was really like eye opening and it goes from literally from one spectrum to the other. So,
okay. I promise. Here we go. You ready? For leaving a ski trip while my wife and kids were asleep. Yes, probably. For telling a girl she had to move out if she was keeping her baby. Oof. For asking my daughter to uphold her end of the deal, whatever that is. For wanting to wear white at my wedding. For accidentally insulting my future daughter-in-law's infertility.
I saw that one.
Almost certainly. For exposing my friend who has the same scar after she publicly made fun of me. What? So you never know what you're going to get a hold of here, is what it comes down to. That's the takeaway. They are wild.
Yeah. And it's always, it's interesting conversation on, on that. So, all right. Very good. All right. With that, because this internet, for whatever reason, is like really
wants you to be sad.
Right. Exactly right. Exactly right. That is the tech news for this week for Sunday, December 11th. 2022. Show notes from this episode can be found at gncweekly.com. Also, be sure to check out the latest tech news and commentary from geeknewscentral.com, and be sure to, there we go, there's the music, and be sure to tune in Mondays and Thursday evenings at geeknewscentral.com. That's not the right music I wanted. That's the right music I wanted. Yes, let me start over. That is tech news for this week for Sunday, December 11th, 2022. Show notes from this episode can be found at gncweekly.com. Also, be sure to check out the latest tech news and commentary from geeknewscentral.com. And be sure to tune in Mondays and Thursday evenings at geeknewscentral.com/live for the Geek News Central podcast. And then be sure to watch and tune in this Fridays for our final episode of the year. And it's a special edition of GNC Week in Review / Tech Podcast Network's preview of CES 2023 at gncweekly.com/live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be back on the next January episode, or New Year will be Friday, January 13th. Fingers crossed. And as always, if you're new to podcasts, be sure to like and subscribe to the GNCWIR channel on YouTube. Also, please make sure to click on the bell and always select notifications so you will not miss the next episode. Also, be sure to, there you go. Also, be sure to share this episode with people you know. Check out the podcast and pass along the word that this podcast is easy to subscribe to on your favorite podcast app. Also, be sure to tune in to F5 Live, Refreshing Technology with Scott and Adam Pilch, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be at f5live.tv/join us, or be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you have a comment on this episode, we love to hear them. Head on over to gncweekly.com/connect and connect via Twitter, email, or Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm at Kirk Corliss. Scott is at TTMABO. Till next episode of GNC Week in Review in January. So long, and Happy New Year.